There's sort of a philosophic concept that a sufficiently advanced civilization will be able to create a simulation. Yeah, maybe you've answered this before. A simulation.
I've had so many simulation discussions; it's crazy.
Okay, so because
in fact, it got to the point where basically every conversation was the AI/simulation conversation, and my brother and I finally agreed that we would ban such conversations if we were ever in a hot tub. Okay. That was like, because that really kills the magic.
We're not in a hot tub, so the idea is right. Any sufficiently advanced civilization could create a simulation that's like our existence. And so the theory follows that maybe we're in the simulation. Have you thought about this? And
a lot.
Are we?
Even in hot tubs? So much so it had to be banned from a hot tub.
Yeah.
Many millions of years ago, a race of hyper-intelligent, pan-dimensional beings got so fed up with the constant bickering about the meaning of life that they commissioned two of their brightest and best to design and build a stupendous supercomputer to calculate the answer to life, the universe, and everything.
Oh, Deep Thought. We want you to tell us the answer.
The answer to what?
The answer to life, the universe, everything. We'd really like an answer. Something simple.
I have to think about that. Return to this place in exactly 7.5 million years.
Is it finished? Oh, no, there's more. There's more. They go back.
What, 7.5 million years later?
That's right. They do.
Deep Thought. Do you have
An answer for you? Yes, but you're not going to like it.
It doesn't matter, we must know it.
All right. The answer to the ultimate question of life, the universe, and everything is... $42.
42?
Yes, I thought it over quite thoroughly. It is, it's 42. It would have been simpler, of course, to have known what the actual question was.
But it was the question. The ultimate question. Of everything.
That's not a question. Only when you know the question will you know what the answer means.
Give us the ultimate question, then.
I can't. But there is one who can. A computer that will calculate the ultimate question. A computer of such infinite complexity that life itself will form part of its operational matrix. And you yourselves shall take on new, more primitive forms and go down into the computer to navigate its 10-million-year program. I shall design this computer for you, and it shall be called...
Okay.
It's not the sexiest conversation.
Are we in? Are we in?
I think here's, in my mind, like the strongest argument for us being in a simulation, probably being in a simulation, I think is the following. That 40 years ago, we had Pong, like two rectangles and a dot. That was what games were. Now, 40 years later, we have photorealistic 3D simulations with millions of people playing simultaneously, and it's getting better every year. And soon we'll have virtual reality, we'll have augmented reality.
GTC is where we create what other people would think of as science fiction. And speaking of science fiction, my first demonstration for you today is the holodeck. As you know, we play at the intersection of virtual reality and artificial intelligence. We play at the intersection. And nothing exemplifies that intersection like holodeck does. And the holodeck is not only a place you go, but it's a place we can share. And so it has to obey the laws of physics, otherwise it wouldn't feel like a place. It has to be photorealistic, and it has to be someplace that we can share together. Okay, so why don't you guys take us through? Let's see the brand new Koenigsegg, shall we? You guys know this is how the holodeck works. This is all completely in real time. This is photorealistic graphics.
If you assume any rate of improvement at all, then the games will become indistinguishable from reality. They'll be indistinguishable. Even if that rate of advancement drops by 1,000 from what it is right now, then you just say, okay, well, let's imagine it's 10,000 years in the future, which is nothing in the evolutionary scale.
We felt that that just wasn't fast enough. What we should do is do it in parallel and in parallel. And so this is what the Volta Tensor Core does. It literally does the 4x4 multiply plus C at the same time. And it dumps it into result, 20 times increased throughput. Really crazy stuff. The net result is, although Pascal, the P100, is the most advanced processor the world's ever built, 1 year later, Volta is 1.5 times the floating point performance general purpose computing, 12 times the tensor operations compared to Pascal for deep learning training, and 6 times for inferencing. I'm going to come back to inferencing a little bit. You know, you guys know that it's a GPU, so although I haven't spoken much about graphics, it is able to do graphics. And so 10 days ago, I reached out to Tabata-san. Tabata-san is the head of the studio at Square Enix. And this is, as you know, the 30 years of Square, and they're well known around the world for the incredible cinematic production value of their films and video games. And with this generation, with Final Fantasy 15, his vision, Tabata-san's vision, was to unify the pipeline, unify the workflow, unify the graphics engine of cinematic film and real-time computer graphics, with a vision that someday cinematic film and computer graphics have essentially the same visual effects. And so 10 days ago, I reached out to Tabata-san. I asked him if he could, do something for all of you, and he just jumped on the opportunity. First of all, he apologized. He said, "Look, there's not enough time to really do anything at the level that Square would like to do." However, he dedicated his engineers. They worked around the clock. They basically haven't gone to sleep for 10 days. And let's take a look at the great gift that Tabata-san and the Square Enix guys have done for us. Fur simulators, leather simulators. The amount of geometry in here, the lighting system, the soft shadows. The character is directly out of the movie. Metal looks like metal. You can almost touch the leather. That's a good leather jacket. Guys, that's a good leather jacket. I just noticed that. That's a good leather. I'm going to have to call Tabata-san. Okay, good job, amazing. And so he also sent us what he believes that it will look like someday in the near future, and this is what video games will look like. Ladies and gentlemen, a quick trailer.
So given that we're clearly on a trajectory to have games that are indistinguishable from reality, and those games could be played on any set-top box or on a PC or whatever, and there would probably be, billions of such, computers or set-top boxes, it would seem to follow that the odds that we're in base reality is 1 in billions.
So
Tell me what's wrong with that argument.
Is the answer yes?
The argument is probably. I mean, but I just like, is there a flaw in that argument?
I mean, someone.
I'm not sure what the error.
No. The argument makes sense. So the assumption then is that somebody beat us to it, and this is a game.
No. There's a 1 in billions chance that this is base reality.
Oh, okay. What do you think?
Well, I think it's 1 in billions.
Okay.
I mean, that seems to be like clearly what it suggests.
Right.
And actually, I mean, arguably, we should hope that that's true, because otherwise, if civilization stops advancing, then that may be due to some calamitous event that erases civilization. So maybe we should be hopeful that this is a simulation, because otherwise.
Because they could reboot it.
Well, otherwise, either we're going to create simulations that are indistinguishable from reality, or civilization will cease to exist. Those are the two options.